This is Bedroom Talk. I'm Tariana. This is Vaughn, and we're the Greens. I'm going to be lighting the candle today. The candle is different. We usually get Bath and Body Works, but we was in Walmart, so we trying a new candle, new scent. It's called Fall Farmhouse. And today feel like fall. It's raining. It's cold. So what better day than today to try it?
Today's topic is going to be how many kids is too many, and when married, when is it the right time to have kids? I think that's a interesting and kind of controversial question to be asking, being that we're married and we already have two beautiful children that is not here right now. That one is at the grandparents' house and one is at their own house. So mommy and daddy getting a bit of a break today. Go us. But as usual, we have phone close. I was told that some of our viewers like the fact that we're folding clothes together. So we want to keep that tradition going.
Oh, money.
Oh, you found money? What? How much?
Yeah, $5.
That's still money though. A penny, what is it? Penny saved is a penny earned. However it go.
Oh, something like that.
Something like that. So back to the topic. The first half of the question: how many kids is too many, and the timing of having children. We have two children right now, and I feel like that's a lot. You know what I mean? My wife, on the other hand, she doesn't feel like that's a lot. We both come from a background of having multiple brothers and sisters in our family, and I wasn't as fortunate as she was to be raised with all of them. But I have four brothers and sisters. Well, I have one sister and three other brothers. And unfortunately, I wasn't raised with all of them. She was. She was raised with all her brothers and sisters at some point in time of her life. But I just think 3 kids is a lot. I think 2 kids is enough, especially right now in today's market and, with the income that we're making. It's a lot. That's not the only thing, just time. I want to be able to spend a lot of time with my children, and the job that we work, it won't necessarily allow us to have that much time with them. And I think time is one of the most important things for me, at least, when having children. So how do you feel about it, Tariana?
Well, for one, I think that's the problem with our society or generation. How do you want to put it right now? Back in the day, they didn't question, oh, we don't make enough or we don't. Our great grandparents had 7, 8, 9 kids. They didn't make nothing compared to what we made. They wasn't living as good as how we living. I feel like people put too much thought in it. Like, people make it like it's such a bad thing. Not saying I want 10 kids and nothing like that, because I don't. But I'm just saying, like, I feel like if it happened, it's meant to happen. Like, we just think too hard. Like people say, oh, you pregnant again?
Right.
Some cultures don't even, that's not a a problem for them. Like, they don't worry about that. They just be like, oh, this is a blessing.
Right.
That's how they look at it.
Right.
We are quick to be like,
judging.
Oh, you having another one? Yeah. Some people want big families. Some people want a lot of kids. I never want my kids to be alone after me and you. Like, right. At least they always have each other.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I guess I fit into that category of people overthinking it. I mean, like you said, I also see where you're coming from, and I also feel that way as well. If it happens, it happens. Plus we're married.
I'm about to say we married.
So
it's
different because we're married. I feel like it's different because we're married, and it's like we're creating, not just a legacy, but we we're building a family. You know, what else are we supposed to do?
Yeah, like back in the day, our grandfathers ain't get no vasectomies. Our grandmothers ain't get no tubes tied. Like they just had kids. Like if it was gonna happen, it was gonna happen. If it wasn't, it wasn't.
I also feel like it was a different time back then as well. You can live. A family could survive off of one income back then and make it happen for their whole family, no matter how many kids they bring into this life. Not saying that the wife didn't necessarily, or vice versa. I just feel like it was a different time back then, and things may have been a little bit cheaper back then. I'm not sure I have to do my fact checks on that, but I just feel like it was a different time back then.
I don't feel like it's about being cheaper. I feel like it's how people choose to live.
Yeah,
you can make it work, but we choose to live a certain way. So that's why, it's not enough for us. Back in the day, they didn't care about that. As long as their kids had a roof over their head, they had food in their bellies, like
right.
that's it. Like
being together,
kids was
being
kids.
happy, yeah.
We buying our kids all these electronics, and we having $3,000 parties. And not to say there's nothing wrong with it. That's what we choose. But at the same time, don't say to me, "Oh, you having another one? Kid's expensive."
Right.
That's my choice.
Right.
If I want another expensive kid, then let me choose that.
Right. Well, we need to choose it.
Well,
together.
but it's us because when we don't use protection, yeah, or we don't take the precautions,
right.
we know the
consequences.
not the consequences, but what could happen.
Right.
Not to say it will happen, but
possibilities of what can happen from doing that. I agree.
And I don't feel like it's really ever a right time. Like you could work a job. Like it's not really a right time because you could have all the money and work too many hours. Now it's not the right time because I don't have time to be home and help.
Right.
You could not have money. It's not the right time because we don't make enough money. We're trying to do this. It's never going to be a right time for nobody. People who make a lot of money, people who got big houses, then the mothers feel like, oh, I'm going to be a single mother because you always work. Like something's going to always, be a factor. And at the end of the day, you're going to miss your time because women, we don't have a lot of time on our clocks. Men can have kids whenever.
Let's talk about that too. That was a topic that was being brought up with some of our viewers also. With women's biological clock ticking. When is a good age you think? Well, okay. If you're already in your mid-30s as a female and you have one kid you have two kids and you want another one. Start over. And you want another one. Like, are you always conscious of your biological clock when you're thinking about having more kids?
Oh.
No, you're not thinking about your biological clock?
No, because
you're just gonna have kids when
if it's meant to happen, it's gonna happen.
So you'll be 40, 45 and you'll push a kid out.
If God says it's give me the ability to get pregnant, it's different. I like to be pregnant.
Yeah, I know.
I have beautiful pregnancy. Some people is not that fortunate.
I don't think it's about being it being a beautiful pregnancy. I think it's just the health.
I'm not saying beautiful like looking good. I'm saying beautiful like some people they throw up their whole pregnancy. Some people suffer morning sickness. That all play a factor into how you. Yeah, but it make the pregnancy beautiful or not beautiful. Like. You wake up and be like, I can't wait till this baby get here. I never, thank God, had that feeling. So, some people, they just say it's just not for them.
Right. Okay, so back to that. Timing. As far as not when is the right time to have it, but like, age-wise, coming, being a certain age. People feel like, all right, well, I'm getting older. I don't want to be chasing around kids at 45 and 50 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I could understand that, but
and would that be a deal breaker for you? If like say, okay, we got two kids now, right? And say you're 29 right now. So let's say at 34. right? Our kids would be a little bit older at that time, and then you be like, "Yo, Ron, like I'm ready to have another baby," and I'm like, "Hell no!" like, how would you feel as your husband, and you're coming to me like, "I want to have another baby." I'm getting older, or maybe the age isn't an issue for you. Like, I just want my kids to be kind of closer in age, so that when we are older, they could be there for each other.
I don't want them to be close in age, because if I ever have another kid, my kids right now gonna have to be big enough where they could fend for themselves a little bit.
Right now. Okay.
Right now we have two little kids.
Right.
So they
have
both
a 5-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old that's about to be 3 in September.
Yeah, so they both fighting for attention. If I had a baby right now, it'd just be a little too much. Like, okay. I want to get them the time that they both need.
Right.
And having another newborn, I breastfeed. That's all.
So it's time management for you.
I wouldn't say time management. I just want to give them the time they need to help them. Zala's going to kindergarten. She's starting a new school.
Right.
Xander's going to be in school by himself. He's going to pre-K. Like, they need us a lot right now. And to add another baby right now would be a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go into our second portion of the when married, when is the right time? Well, we kind of touched on that. When married, when is the right time to have kids? So I'm guessing that's because that came in from one of our viewers as a topic. If you're married and you don't have kids, or if you're just in a relationship, planning to get married one day, when is the right time to have kids? I can speak from experience for myself, and you as well. I didn't particularly have an age where I wanted to have kids. If I could have started a little younger, then I probably would have been okay with that, like starting a little bit younger. But like you said, kids are a blessing from God, and I'm grateful. I'm not that old. I'm not, I'm only 32. But what was my point I was trying to make?
Yeah, I'm trying to get it.
I'm trying to remember my point I was trying to make. I can't speak to that kind of, because, I came into our relationship and you already had a daughter. She was 3 or 4 months. And then we waited till she was 3, and then we had Xander.
But we didn't kind of wait. We knew we was getting into.
Right, we knew what was
going to happen. It just took, a little longer. Right. But I feel like if you married, that's something, I'm pretty sure that's something we already talked about.
Before we got married.
Okay. So we both already had an understanding.
So it should have been talked about.
Yeah, that's a deal breaker for a lot of people. That's a deal breaker. Right. If I know I want to have kids, I can't be with somebody who don't want to have kids. I'm not going to try to guess to see.
And also how many kids they want to have. Too.
Yeah. I'm not going to guess to see. Oh, they might grow out of it.
Right. They might change their mind.
Yeah, I'm not about to play that game, man.
Especially when you already know that you want to have kids.
Exactly. So I feel like, but like I said, women have a clock. So as a woman, I'm not 30 telling my man, like, yeah, well, I'm not ready yet. Let's give 5 more years. Because I know in 5 more years, it's going to be harder for me to conceive. Right. And now this is my husband who I made these vows with. We partnership. We have to compromise. Right. And I know he want a kid. And who wouldn't want to give their husband a baby?
So I guess the greater question is, because for married people, I think that's kind of, a pivotal conversation that they should have had going into the marriage. So for the people that aren't married, like the singles that may have had a kid already or just want to have their first child, like, would that be a deal breaker for you, in or out of being in a relationship with the person? Like, would that be a deal breaker for you?
What you mean, in or out of the relationship?
Like, well, not in a relationship, but like, if we're in a relationship, that's a regular relationship, not married, and we had discussions about having a kid or having another kid, and we already had a kid, would that be a deal breaker for you if you or myself wants to have another kid? Like, is that a deal breaker for you?
It will
and
be
the other person doesn't want to do it.
It will be a deal breaker because at the end of the day, you older than me. So vice versa, you was the girl and I'm the guy. I'm 29, but I could have a kid whenever. You already 32. You don't have long. The older you are, the higher the risk. Is what I'm saying.
If I was a female.
I said you the female, and I'm the male.
Oh, okay.
I can have a baby whenever, but you don't have that option.
That luxury.
So at the end of the day,
do you think it's selfish for men that's not married, that's in a relationship with someone, and they be like, and the woman wants to have?
I feel like it's
children?
deeper. If they just say no and they're not willing to compromise, you're not the person for them. They don't really want to be with you.
Right.
Because if I wanted to be with you and I want to spend the rest of my life with you, something like that, I'm willing to compromise on because you my person.
You're my person. Right.
You the person I want to be with for the rest of my life.
So if you're not married and they like no, like and they stick it to their guns about it, is that a deal breaker for you? Like
you don't really want to be with me.
Right.
Because if you love me, it wouldn't be so easy to say no. Even if you talked about it and said, well, give me a year.
Okay.
Give me a year. A year is better than 5.
Right.
That's a compromise.
5 is a long time.
That's a long time.
A year is a long time.
Yeah.
but
at the same time, we could just start. And that don't mean I'm going to get pregnant tomorrow.
Right.
It takes time. It may take a year.
Right. It may take
2
to conceive.
So,
you never know how long it may take.
Exactly. You could tell me 5 years, down 5 years, it took us 3 more years to get pregnant.
Right.
I tell people all the time, they say, I knew somebody, he was trying to have sex, and trying to have a baby. And he kept saying, I don't know what's wrong, like we having sex, it's just not working, she's not getting pregnant. I said, cause you trying too hard. You trying. Whenever you try, it's harder to do.
It seems like it's harder to happen.
But when you just, all right, whatever, it just happened.
Yeah.
Like,
I think you also have to be happy too, in that situation, and make. You could have a kid and
not be happy,
and not be happy. But for the ones that's actually trying to have kids, it's. I think a lot goes into that. A lot should go into that.
At the same time, people got to look at who they having a kid with. If I already got a kid with you and you not really doing what you supposed to do or how I feel you should be parenting,
right.
Why would I really want to have another kid by you?
Yeah. Right.
Because I already got my wheels up about this one.
Right.
I get it. Some people don't want to have kids by more than one person, and when the kids have the same,
I have a friend that's like that.
At the end of the day, you taking that risk because you gotta realize this is really what you want to do.
Right.
Like, having kids, that's a big responsibility. Yeah. So, as women, whatever you choose,
who you choose,
that play a big role. Yeah. Like,
and we talked about that.
At the end of the day, people be making me mad because they know what they getting themselves into.
Right.
And then,
when those issues
arrive is a problem, but you already knew.
You already knew going in
what you was getting yourself into. Like,
you knew she was sleeping around with other niggas.
Or even just what type of person they is. Like,
if they have kids with their other kids.
Exactly.
How they act with they.
Because I can't expect no man to not take care of his other kid and think because I have a kid, it's gonna be different.
Right.
Or as soon as if we be together and you being good, when we break up, it ain't gonna be that good.
Right. Because I see how you treat
your other
kids and other baby mamas or baby fathers.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
No, but kids, that's, they don't ask to be here.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, the people we place in their lives is on us.
Right.
Whether it be a step-parent, biological parent, or a godparent, whatever. Like, you could still raise a good kid without another biological parent, whether you do in vitro or whatever. Like,
yeah, I forgot. Yeah. Adopt.
Exactly.
Adopt, just be a good parent. That's true. So let's conclude this with having kids. Let's just go back to it. You know, timing with having kids. You know, I don't think it's a right. It's a right time to have kids. You know, people always want to plan. You know, I think planning is good. I don't think planning is a bad thing. I think planning is actually a good thing. But you know, you can have kids whenever.
And not to say take having kids that lightly, like, you know, it's just another thing.
Right.
Because that's a big responsibility.
Right.
Like, that's a life-changing responsibility.
You got them forever.
And at the end of the day, people don't have to watch your kid.
Right.
People don't have to help you. Like, ultimately, you on your own. It's up to people's discretion how they want to help you and if they want to help you. Even grandparents, you know, some people feel obligated, like, you know, you're supposed to do this because you're a grandmother or you're a grandfather or you're an aunt. And that's not the case. Like, those are your kids. Now, they can do what they want. You know, you would hope they would like to be involved and help you out, but at the end of the day, they don't have to. And you had the kid, you know, and you can't compare yourself to other people. Some people, family dynamics is different. Like, you got some people who got old school grandparents versus new school grandparents, but that's another topic. Yeah. Old school versus new school. These grandparents ain't how they used to be.
Grandparents is out here still. That's because the grandparents, not that there was a young grandparents back when our parents was younger, but yeah, man, they different, man. And then one, they still working. My grandmother, she didn't have to work. You know what I mean? Like, it was different. Like, she didn't have to work when I was being raised. She chose to work. You know, so it was a little bit easier for my grandmother to watch me when my mother had something to do. Even though she was like, you had him, he going with you. And my mother could attest to that. You know, she was like, yeah, my mother ain't play that. She was like, yeah, you had him. That's your responsibility. You know, you want to go out and he can't go with you, then you can't go out. Simple as that. You know, but these grandparents nowadays, they in their 40s, early 50s.
You know, we don't really ask somebody to babysit our kids too much.
Right.
Not really. Yeah. But, you know, my mother, she still works. She worked for the post office. So she bought the kids. She don't babysit unless it's an emergency. Right. Financially, though,
very briefly,
she will help us any way she could. Absolutely. Any way she could.
And it's okay, we need help.
Yeah. And, you know, my mama-in-law, she will get the kids. She will come when she not busy herself, because she work as well. So, you know, I understand.
And
some weekends, she just want to do stuff herself, you know. And I don't hold nobody against that. My dad, he see the kids all during the weekend, all during the week. If I didn't pick him up from school, he could pick him up. But the dynamics is different. My dad works, but he got a wife, and he worked close to home.
Yeah, other grandkids too.
Yeah, and so, you know, it's not that much, because my kids and my brother, they the only grandkids, only a little bit. So, you know, and we live close. Right. He worked like right around the corner from the kids' school. He lived right around the corner from the kids' school. My mother-in-law, she lived far. She can't pick the kids up from school, you know. Right. So it's different dynamics, but, you know, some people still got this old mindset, like their parents are obligated to do this stuff that they want them to do, and their parents living their life, and, you know, they be mad about stuff like that. Like, and at the end of the day, I feel like one day we gonna be grandparents, and the shoe gonna be on the other foot, and, you know, then we'll see it just like we parents.
And our kids old.
Yeah, just like we parents, and that's why, you know, I tell him all the time, you know, I want to buy a house. He be like, oh, I want a little house, like. And I feel like if I got the money to buy a nice big house.
When I say little house, I don't mean like a 2-bedroom. I mean, like, I want a house that's manageable. Like, a house off the rip is a lot of responsibility. Then you got this gigantic ass house that.
I'm not saying a house with 10 rooms, but like, I'm saying a nice spacious house. Like, of course. You know, I want to be able to, when our kids get grown, they need to come back home, they can. I'm not saying I want my kids to come back home, but if they had to, I have the space. If my grandkids want to come over, I have the space. Like, I want a backyard so my kids can play outside. Right. You know, That's another thing. You know, I'm fortunate my dad owned a house and my kids will go over there and play and we can have parties there and stuff like that. And, you know, I want to one day be able to do that for my own kids, you know.
Right.
A lot of parents I know don't own houses and nothing. They rent, you know. That's a big accomplishment, especially for our community, you know. Some people are afraid of that responsibility.